channel. Today I'm going to be talking about quite a personal story, one that I've not felt quite ready to share for some time, and it's something that has been really weighing on me, especially since I have been filming and putting out other videos on my channel, and this is all about my life and my journey and my goals and how I find success and happiness in my life, so that you can learn something from that to put into yours and to create your life of your dreams. And one of the biggest dreams of mine is being a mum and expanding my family and just having just this happy home family life with my children. And as you all know, I do already have a son, my beautiful boy James, and he is literally the light of my life, my world, my joy, my happiness. And we've always wanted to have a sibling for him. It's something that is quite deeply rooted in me, something that I really want for my family, that I can see and picture into the future. And my little one is now 2 years old, and we have just experienced very recently a miscarriage. And I decided to make this video today because this is the pregnancy and infant loss awareness month, and I just felt like if there's going to be a time that I'm ready to really talk about it, it would be now, because I know there's a lot of focus on this area. I don't think it's talked about enough, and I really want to share my story so that anybody watching this who is either going through a miscarriage, has had a miscarriage or multiple miscarriages before, that you are not alone, that I get you, I understand it, and it is one of the most devastating and traumatic thing you can ever experience in your life, and I get you, I understand it. And if you're watching this because you're wanting to build your own awareness and you've maybe got a close family or friend or someone you know that you want to help, then I hope this video can just allow you to relate in some way, so that you can provide that empathy or compassion to a loved one. So I want to go back in my story to the start of my journey, so I can kind of share that with you. You can kind of see where I've been through, where I've come through, and to this point today. And before I do that, I just want to say that this is a subject that is not talked about enough. And I'm so glad there is a dedicated month and day to this every year to kind of illuminate this subject, because sometimes I feel it's looked on as quite a taboo area and not many people open up or talk about it. It's very personal, and there's a lot of stigma around it. Many people, many mothers or people who've gone through miscarriage have a lot of guilt, a lot of shame attached to it, and therefore don't open up about it and don't speak about it. And the staggering statistic is 1 in 4 women suffer from miscarriage. And that is such a huge statistic that I only really realized now after going through it myself, because again, it's not talked about often enough, and unless you go through it, I don't think many people realize that. And so that is a lot of people, a lot of women that go through that experience. And that's why I feel compelled today to share my story and bring this to an audience, my community, so that you can understand that about me, my journey, but also to help others. So going back to when I got married. So I married my amazing husband back in January 2013. When we got married, we'd already been together for 5 years. And we decided that we wanted to start right away and trying for a family. We were not putting pressure on ourselves or anything like that. We just decided if it happens, it happens, not thinking there would be any problems or issues. Most people that we knew, or kind of genuinely I think it's thought of, is that it's quick, it's easy. People get pregnant like that, and it's something you expect to happen in your first year of marriage if you decided to try. And so like that whole year passed, and we were like, okay, not really working for us. We've done the necessary thing for that to happen, and it hasn't happened. So we decided, okay, maybe we need to get checked out, go to the gynae and just find out if there's anything wrong or anything I can do to kind of help with this process of conception. And I didn't get the answer straight away. I had to move to different doctors, get different opinions, and eventually I got my gynecologist and obstetrician now, who to me is just the best doctor, health professional I have ever met. He takes so much care to understand, and he is so highly qualified and just the best that I've ever been to. And all the people that I know and other mums in my area who have had this amazing man feel the same way. And I honestly believe if I hadn't gone to him, I would not have had my first child. And he quickly identified the issues that we had. And so it was going to be a long journey, a long process, different changes to diet, to lifestyle, to kind of just help promote the journey of conception. And it was identified areas in both sides, so we kind of knew that like it is going to take longer for us to conceive. And we decided eventually, about nearly 4 years in, that we were going to do some treatments, and we did the IUI, so the intrauterine insemination. We did a couple rounds of that, both of which failed. And at that time, it was devastating to kind of go through an infertility journey and to do treatment, and for them to fail, you put all your hopes into that. That wasn't successful. And so our next natural step, we were told, was we can only conceive through IVF. And for those who have been through IVF, you'll know it is a highly invasive and long and financially element to that. So we decided that we would kind of take a pause, allow ourselves to kind of heal from the journey thus far, and decide that after a year we'll save up, we'll go to the relevant specialists and start that journey later. And then by some miracle, 2 months later, we naturally conceived our baby boy. And I just pray to God that that was like such a blessing, such a miracle. And that pregnancy was amazing. Like, never expected it to happen the way it did. Didn't think I would conceive naturally, so that was amazing. And I really felt like this was a gift from God. I was just so happy and blessed. It was just the most wonderful feeling. And I'm so grateful now that I have become a mum. And my pregnancy, like I say, was really good. It was went by all the scans that we had. He was growing well, growing nicely, and so he was such a healthy, strong, growing baby. And only at the end, throughout my pregnancy, he was always lying back to back. And so near my due date, he didn't drop. He was still lying in awkward position for natural birth. And so I ended up having a cesarean. And that process and procedure, like, got through that, had my beautiful boy. And so to fast forward 2 years later, because he just turned 2 last month, we weren't trying, but eventually we weren't trying, but in June this year, so just a few months back, I found out I was pregnant again. And again, this was like another miracle. Couldn't believe I conceived again, even though it'd been a couple of years. We weren't, like I say, necessarily trying for this to happen, like scheduling. So it was such a shock, an exciting shock. And every mum will know that when you first find out that you're pregnant, you are already imagining this child. You are thinking about the colours in the nursery, the colour schemes in the nursery. You're already checking out prams. You're looking at cute little baby outfits in the store. Like, you immediately connect with that growing being inside you. You already picture being a mother if you're a first-time mom. If you're a second or multiple pregnancy, you're already thinking about the sibling for your already living child. And you start to attach to it. You start to imagine life with this child. You start thinking about the gender. Will it be a boy or a girl? You start thinking of names. Like, literally, this happens for the women from the beginning. And that's what I've kind of found, and like I've from listening to other moms and people gone through miscarriage, is that they identify with this child from the very beginning. It becomes a part of you. No matter where you like kind of lose your child, in the pregnancy psych journey. And so because I'd already had a healthy first pregnancy, I didn't think anything bad would really happen. You don't think it's going to happen to you, especially when you've had already a successful pregnancy. And so 8 weeks into my whole pure happiness, joy, excitement building time of telling people, getting excited for this new baby, I started spotting. And initially I spoke to other mums who said it can be very normal, don't worry about it, just check in with the doctor and find out if anything's wrong. So I try not to panic, but obviously everything's going through your mind. You're panicking, you are thinking, what have I done wrong? Why is this happening to me? And then I went to the gynae to have a scan because I had started bleeding a little bit more each day. And when I went there, and everybody's gone through this will know that feeling when they're in the doctor's office and you can just tell, you just know there's something wrong. You just know there is. You're already thinking the worst and you still shutting off to your mind that it is happening. But when you're in that moment, you know, you have that sixth sense, that instinct that it's just something is wrong. And I just remember, like, because I've been pregnant already and know what scans pretty much look like, I know I couldn't see anything, and I could just feel it. I could just tell from my doctor. The one I trust, the one I know, like, he is amazing. And so I just knew, like, I just knew. And when he looked at me and he said the words, and everyone will know that feeling, the words that I'm sorry, and there's no baby. And for me, the fetal pole hadn't developed, which is essentially like the baby hadn't developed enough at that time, and I was possibly having a miscarriage at that point. Because I hadn't had much bleeding and it was still early on in the pregnancy, he said there's a chance that it's still growing and it's okay, but it looks like you might be losing this baby. So when that news that hits you, I can't hardly describe it. It's like nothing you can think of. It is one of the worst feelings. You just feel sick, you feel like a failure, you feel shame, you feel guilt, you think, what could have I done differently? It's just so out of your control, and you just grasp everything. It is just so like suffocating. You just want to like just scream, cry, just bend over, like double with pain. It is just the worst feeling. And I remember leaving that doctor's office and just breaking down, and just my husband was there with me and consoling me, and I was consoling him, and we were just, it was just devastating, just utterly devastating. And so there was an element of hope. I was to get blood tests. So I got blood tests. The blood test said that my numbers were actually in the right levels for the time of my pregnancy. And so there was hope there that actually this could be okay. And I clung on to that hope. I really did. I was like, wow, okay, maybe this baby is hanging on there. It is just underdeveloped, or it's just the weeks. They thought it was maybe just a bit earlier than assumed. And so I went a couple of days after that. And then one day I started bleeding, not just spotting, but heavy bleeding. And I just knew in my gut, I was like, this is it's happening. This is happening now. I rushed to the hospital. I got my last and final appointment, in which I was told, you are currently having a miscarriage. It is done. The sac has shrunk. It is now in the process of your body is miscarrying. And I just, that was it. That confirmation, knowing that this is now happening to me in my body, and I'm losing this dream, this hope, this life that I just couldn't even fathom it. I just couldn't even think about it. I was just like, what is happening? This gift from God is just gone all of a sudden, like that. It just robbed from you, it's just taken from you. You just don't have any control over it. And so I went away from that appointment knowing that all the fears were confirmed and this was now happening. And the days after, my miscarriage was complete and I got a follow-up and it was all confirmed. And so I am thankful that I got to naturally just pass my miscarriage and the baby. And now I had to start the process of getting through the grief and recovery. And it has now been 12 weeks since my miscarriage, and I feel like I'm getting there bit by bit. And as you all know, I am a life coach, and so I have that feeling in me of wanting to make sure that I can use everything at my disposal, everything I know that's going to help me through this. And I already, set goals, and I do my journaling, yoga, meditation, all these things that you could tell you are good ways to help. And I can honestly say that has really helped me to kind of move forward. And I do journal every day. I pray to God every day. I express my fears, my feelings, the highs, the lows of the process, the feelings of I can't get through the day. I can celebrate the things that I'm grateful for and I feel good, to the deep lows of just thinking like, why does this have to happen to me? And just the sadness. And sometimes you just have days where you are just in such despair over it. You see other people get pregnant, you see people that that are having babies that are would have been at the same time that you would have had your baby, and it is tough, it is hard to see. But I want people to know that if you are going through miscarriage right now, it will get better. Time is a healer, as cliche as that sounds, it is. And when you go through miscarriage, everything's so out of your control. And for me, I had to take some control back. And for me, that was setting goals. It was looking at my health, my fitness, different areas in my life that I can really focus on now. And I have a beautiful living child, and every day he amazes me, and I get that joy to watch and be a part of. And there's so many people that don't have that and are going through miscarriage, and they're just desperate for a child. And like, I knew through my fertility journey like what that feels like, but I know that like there is hope, and you just have to go through the motions. You just got to feel it. And the only way I feel like I've been able to really push through is just to regain some control of the things that I can. I put on quite a bit of weight with my second pregnancy, which made me think I was having a girl, because my first one I was feeling sick all the time, didn't want to eat a thing, and I had a boy. So people were telling me, you're going to have a girl, you're going to have a girl. But, and I've struggled to drop that weight, and that is a big thing that on my down days, or one of the features of the down days, is that I can't lose this weight, and I fluctuate, and it goes down and it goes back up again, and I'm really battling with that at the moment. And if you've been watching my YouTube channel, you'll see that I have been focusing a lot on health and fitness, and I currently still am, and it's helping me get through it though, because it's something that I can at least keep chipping away at and have control over, and it's slowly but surely helping me. And the power of journaling, again, I put all my fears, all my thoughts down, and I'm obviously hopeful that it will happen one day for us. But I just hope that if you are watching this and you maybe know someone going through it, just be there. The biggest advice I can give to people who are wanting to help others going through this is just to listen. Just be a listening ear. Let them get all their frustration out, their anger, their cries, their shame, the guilt. Let them express all their emotions, because you go through all the emotions under the sun, and just allow them to have that space to talk, to breathe. Because if you try and provide advice or opinions, even though it's well-meaning, the person going through it, you got to remember, like, no matter how brief it was in the pregnancy or whatever it might be, they have been thinking about this child for a long time. Especially for women, it's such a deep-rooted, it's very meaningful, very deep-rooted, the want, the need, the feeling of wanting to have a family, wanting to have a baby and a child in your arms. And nothing else is going to make you feel better about that. So it's just a part of being there for the person, letting them speak, and knowing that you're there. I think that would be the key thing that I would like to share to help people who are helping people go through this situation. So I hope by sharing this video that people can relate, that I'm giving someone who's going through this a chance to relate, to identify with somebody who's also gone through it, and to know that you are not alone, and that there are places you can reach out to. I listen to podcasts on miscarriage. and people who've gone through miscarriage and infant loss. I also joined an amazing Facebook community, the UK Miscarriage Association. They do amazing work in building a community to allow people to have their say and to connect with people who've gone through the same thing and can really help them in that journey of kind of that process of grief and kind of going through the motions. So I would definitely seek out those resources, seek out as much help as you can, and I just really hope that I've given some hope to people today as well, and that we can continue together. If you have any questions about my journey, about my story, or if you want just me to be a listening ear, then please let me know, and I'll do my best to help you. I also want to say to you, take care of yourself, release the guilt, know that it is not your fault, it is out of your control. I know that's hard sometimes to bear and to hear, but there was nothing you could have done to prevent it from happening. And I want you to take time today just to reflect, just to give yourself that time, that kindness, and to look after yourself. If you want to be part of my community, part of knowing me further in my journey, then please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you everyone. Goodbye.